Hi, everybody. It's me, Patricia Cori, coming to you from the Azores. Look at me. I'm all better. It's just a reminder. First of all, thank you all for sending so much love. I do have this throaty sounding voice. Sexy. Let it be a reminder and a model that sometimes you just have to let your body, this is my mantra. I'm probably not telling you anything new, but I'm going to tell you anyway. Let your body do what it's supposed to do. Body creates fever to kill virus bug. Human inserts Tylenol to break fever. Dumb. So I had this really blazing fever, as you know, in my off video. And blazing, it was just like, boom. I really have a strong immune system, and I think it's important to always remember that the thought that you send into the body, when you tell it, please do what you know how to do. And this is what I'm all about in my work with the DNA activation and the cellular memory rewrite, is putting in the information, rewriting the old information, which is, I'm sick, my body isn't, I need medicine, I need help, I need to see the doctor. Yeah, you need to honor the fact that the body knows exactly what to do if you just allow it for a minute. And then, of course, there's always reverting to other solutions if it's not doing what it's supposed to do, if it's not getting the results. But a little discomfort, like a fever. That's why I came to you in my robe. It felt so good to be all bundled up in my robe like a little baby, nurturing myself in that way. And taking the day off and being snug as a bug in the rug on the couch, drinking orange juice. And my friend brought me ice cream, and I thought, well, wow. The advantage of having a sore throat, huh? Anyway, I come to you. I just did an interview that was kind of important, and for the first time ever, it didn't record. A little frustrated. So I'm going to bring to you some of the salient points that I was discussing with my guest, and I won't name her because I'll try to do it again if she'll forgive me it wasn't my fault. The Zoom, for some reason, I have a feeling it's because we talked about subjects that would get me zapped immediately off of the tube. At any rate, I think it's time to take serious stock of the situation at hand. With regard to the T, people call him Mr. T. With regard to Mr. T, I just really feel strongly that there's a shift, the tide is turning, that this has always been the outcome that would be, and that the other side is getting ready to do some very, very bad things. When it comes to the discussion of civil upheaval, unrest, and when you hear things like Rick DeSantis in Florida writing into law that people can legitimately shoot rioters or looters, you realize that there is an anticipation of something pretty intense coming down. So I wanted to send out this message to you. And always, I always feel like I'm preaching to the chorus, because people that listen to what I have to say are already well awake and already informed. But just in case, let's go over it again. They're talking food shortages. They're talking all kinds of, they're talking about the trucks stopping. Here we go again. All right. I have heard from several sources, including an engineer. I met an engineer for Sony years ago who told me, number one, before it was even common knowledge, we're talking 25 years ago. He said, that little button on the television, Patricia, that little red dot? I said, of course. And he said, cover it up. He said, right now we're producing 1 out of every 10 sets has a camera looking out at who's watching the set that is accessed through that little button. And he said, within a decade, it will be all of the sets. So he said, the technology that is there to access what everybody's saying and thinking, and if they're having sex on the couch, that too. So just keep that in mind. I'm an advocate for no television. There's no time like today to get rid of your television. Also, again, forgive me if I'm repeating myself, the flicker in the light, the unnoticeable flicker to the conscious eye is deliberately designed that way because it creates a hypnotic state. So what I'm saying is the flicker, that blue light flicker in the screen, is deliberately attuned to a frequency that sets the viewer into hypnosis, from light to heavy hypnosis. And once they've got you in that state, which is immediate, more or less immediate, then they bring through the subliminal messages. It used to be a lot more subliminal messages. Now it's just overt in-your-face messages. And right now, because the media is completely controlled by the side that is anti-T, all of the information is anti-T. So when you see this hysterical rage, maybe you can understand. And I've been talking about television for 2 decades now. I haven't had one for 25 years. But, I have one that I use for video playing only. But I refuse to watch it. And so I think that this has a lot to do with the people who are aware and conscious. How much they watch television is a big factor on how awake you are. Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think so. So do what you can, okay? Just remember, there is technology designed to create a hypnotic state, and then the program comes in and rewrites your brain. And you go to bed at night with hate Trump jokes, comedians, talk shows, wake up in the morning, hate Trump. And when you wonder why people are so full of hate, well, maybe it's because they're being it's being hypnotically induced. I'd love to do an experiment of the people that many of you have said, there's nobody I can talk to, everybody. Somebody just told me that her family put her in an institution because of her trying to teach them about Trump and other important matters. They had her committed. If that isn't sane, I don't know what is. I think it's important to get yourself stocked up. I think, and again, maybe wrong, I think that before Thanksgiving, we're going to have, maybe even much sooner than that, we're going to have the results that Trump is in fact the winner of this election. And when that happens, the rabid are going to be let out of their cages, and there's going to be mayhem on the streets, not only in the United States, but everywhere. Because once this triggers, it's going to be mayhem. That and the fact that the other side is now talking up the health condition, the health event, and how it is about to hit another terrible big wave is about to come. So between all of these things, we recognize that they're planning something big is being orchestrated here. I don't want you to be afraid. I want you to think about the television program, think about the hate, and also think about the toilet paper experiment. I will never stop believing that this toilet paper insanity was not anything but an experiment, a mind control experiment. So one day people are relatively sane. The next day they're almost killing each other to get toilet paper. And I propose to you that they got people in front of the television into a hypnotic state very quickly. The flicker. It is imperceptible to the eye, okay? If you don't think these things are being used, you're really naive. And that's no offense to you, but it's hard to believe that these tools are being used against us, but they are. So, the toilet paper event. If you really think about it, it was nothing short of insanity that the entire population was racing to get toilet paper, rolling over each other, buying out shelves and shelves of it, knocking people over in order to get their rolls. And this was an experiment, mind control experiment. Today it's toilet paper. What are they going to mind control you into doing next? So, given that we're hearing stories now from the other side that have to do with food shortages and threats of all kinds of things, dark things, it's a really good idea. And you know, I've done plenty of talks about being prepared. So very calmly, now is the time to get out to the stores and stock up your house with necessities. I'm not talking preppers here. That's fear-based. I'm talking reality. Make sure you've got a lot of water in the house. I'm not a mineral water drinker because I have the Berkey filter, but I still have jugs of mineral water, the big, I don't know, 5-gallon jars. I keep about 6 of those in the house all the time. It's a really good idea. It's a really good idea to have extra animal feed for your animals. It's a really good idea to have staples, beans, lentils, bulgur, these kinds of things. And, you know, just stock up your house so that if there were an emergency, and I'm always talking about, you know, people say, oh, that's fear-based, Patricia. I'm not fear-based. I have at least twice avoided real problems by being prepared for at least a 2-week crisis. So in Italy, when I got snowed in, and, you know, in Rome, in southern Italy, they don't know from snow. So there was no proviso on how to deal with it. The water went out, the electricity went out, my pipes froze up. It was a disaster. But I had prepared. I had firewood in the house. I had lots of food, lots of water backed up because the pipes were frozen and the water was turned off. And I heard that at the grocery store, at the market near my house, because I lived in the country, people were just cleaning out the shelves. The water went first, and there was no water. So just give it some thought and take care of these few essentials so that if something really gets crazy out there, you won't be one of the ones that's online with your plastic face mask and your visor and your 18 feet apart, you know, your regulations and the thermal gun and this nonsense, and you just sit back in the house and ride it out. Okay? So tomorrow I'm going to go to the store because here on my island, we have one supermarket and kind of a half a supermarket, a market. We have one ship that comes in a week with supplies. So that's interesting. If the ship doesn't come, then what? And unfortunately, even though people can grow food here, there's a lax approach to growing food, which I hope will change. I'd like to see more community gardens because we certainly have the soil for it. So, like I said, I'm stocked up. I'm always stocked up. Band-Aids, a first aid kit. Imagine if things got crazy. Now, I don't live in a place that I have to be afraid of rioting, but if you are, I mean, Rick DeSantis in Florida just issued an edict allowing people to shoot looters. Read up on that. This is not breaking news. It came out yesterday. I don't know if it's legislation yet, but basically the idea is to allow people the right to shoot rioters and looters. So there's obviously anticipation of big trouble coming. And this is a time when you want to be away from urban areas, keeping low profile at home and prepared. I don't know what that looks like as far as America, as far as arms. I can't go there because it's too ridiculous to have to think about. But you do have to think about it if you're in urban cities and urban areas, especially in those Democrat states where rioting is being tolerated and encouraged, right? I mean, let's not forget that Harris said, yes, of course there's rioting and it's going to continue and we want it to. That should be a red flag for all. Okay, that's my message for the moment. Do it tomorrow. Go out and get yourself some supplies. Have a plan. Talk it over with your family. And then what I was trying to say about Italy, when everybody was going crazy trying to get heat, because it was about 5 days, there was no heat, there was no electricity, nothing. I was fine in my house. I had fire. I cooked over the fire. And I had a big propane gas tank, so I was able to cook also because I had my own propane. And these are things that you can do, that you don't have to be an all-out prepper to organize, but it's a very good idea to have some backup plan. And don't forget the food for the dogs and cats, because sometimes we forget about that. And they need water and they need food. All right, guys, I leave you with absolute positivity. And the point is, there may be some trouble. My attitude is, let's get through it. If there's going to be trouble, let's get through it and get to the other side of it. I think most of you will agree with that. If there's going to be rioting, if there's going to be whatever, civil unrest, we need to see what that looks like. We need to get through it and get to the other side of it and handle it. So always, my message is fearlessness and preparedness. Personally, I got a lot of mantras. One of them is, I don't intend to suffer 1 minute. So keep that in mind. All right. Thank you for listening, guys. I'll see you soon. Take care. This is Patricia Cori with dogs barking insanely in the background, bidding you farewell.